be going live here. All right, so I believe that we are up and running. So I'm going to hopefully assume that we are and run with it. My name is Jennifer, and we are having a chat tonight, one of our CMC chats for the Coastal Magic Convention. Kind of a chance to get together and hang out and talk a little bit with some of our featured authors before the Coastal Magic Convention happens in February. So that gives you a chance to get to know them a little bit, see about some of the things that they write, and interact some before we get together in Daytona. So tonight we are talking about holiday stories, and holiday stories can mean Halloween and Christmas, which is what I think probably, and Valentine's Day maybe is what most people think of when you say holiday stories. But we're going to talk about those, but we're also going to expand through the rest of the year. And hopefully we will be able to share some really cool stories from other times during the year. So if you get an urge for something holiday and festive, say in April, we should be able to come up with something for you. So for tonight, we have Kait Ballenger, Lisa Kessler, and Amy Lane. All three have been with us for Coastal Magics in the past and will be returning, thankfully, to the beach with us in February. So we'll give each one just a second to say who they are and what they write, and then we will start talking about some fun stuff. So Amy, how about you start us off, and then Lisa, and then Kait, and then we'll get on our way.
Okay. I'm Amy Lane. I write mostly male romance. I have a lot of Christmas stories out there, some of them with dogs and cats. It's kind of a thing, and alpaca and sheep. And wait, was that all I was supposed to do?
That's fine.
That's fine. Is that okay? I missed how we introduce ourselves. Am I missing a band?
No. If you have a band, I would be very impressed.
So would I.
Miss Lisa?
I'm waiting for my giant spotlight. No.
I'll work on that for next time.
There we go. We'll put it in the suggestion box.
There you go.
So I'm Lisa Kessler, and I write paranormal romances, which is always fun to work in holidays with creatures that maybe celebrate other holidays. So anyway, it's always fun. And so that's me, and I can't wait for Coastal Magic again. Woo!
Yay. And Miss Kait?
Hi, I'm Kait Ballenger, and I write sexy paranormal romance. And I had a holiday story come out last year for a very brief time, and it's re-releasing in 2 weeks. So,
Perfect timing.
Yes, very good timing.
Excellent. We'll pretend that we did this on purpose.
Right? Yeah. Totally unplanned.
Yep, absolutely. So we're supposed to have another featured author with us this evening. Dahlia Rose was supposed to be joining us, but Miss Dahlia Rose is taking classes for her PhD and was surprised with a bonus class tonight. So we all forgive her for choosing her PhD over us. We understand.
We know where we rank.
Yeah, and you know what? I can't blame her one little bit. So we before we end the chat tonight, I do want to run through the holiday stories that Dahlia's got, in case, anybody out there wants to check those out from her as well. I know she was looking forward to tonight's chat, so I'm bummed that she's not with us, but she's definitely where she needs to be. So that's good. Okay, so my first question if you are watching us either live or after the chat is over and watching, just watching on the Facebook or on YouTube, definitely put comments, questions. If you have any holiday stories that you want to share or suggest, we are all ears. That's part of the reason for tonight's chat. So we can share those. Our authors have obviously written some, but they are going to share some of their favorites and their suggestions for us. And we want to make sure we include those from all of you as well. So if you have questions for the authors in particular, or if you just have stories you want to share, definitely put them in the comments. I have my phone just off to the side of the screen here. So I promise when I look away, I am not ignoring anybody. I'm looking to see if there are any comments or questions. So I will be checking those. Hopefully I won't miss anybody. And that's that. Sorry. So my first question for all of you is, do you have a favorite holiday? And have you written a story about that holiday yet? Whoever wants to start.
Well, Halloween.
I was waiting
my spooky earrings and I have on my Halloween time shirt.
Sometimes I ask questions that I know the answers to, and I'm waiting to see if anybody's going to pop up with what I think.
Halloween. Look, I have my Halloween tree up there.
Mm-hmm.
Woo!
Love it.
It's always Halloween at my house, but Halloween is a big one. And sadly, I was trying to think before the chat, have I written a Halloween? I have one werewolf book, Ice Moon, that happens at Halloween, and there's a masquerade. I'm like, why have I not done that again? What? And in my head, he looked like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. So of course they had to be Wolverine. And anyway, but I don't know why I haven't done that again, but that was super fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I am a fan of the big two, Halloween and Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have written lots and lots and lots of Christmas stories.
Yeah.
And I wrote, the Hedge Witch's Lonely Hearts Club, which was a little 4-volume series. And it starts out with where a bunch of hedge witches get a little bit drunk and cast a Heart's Desire spell that goes madly awry. And also their neighborhood gets invaded and the birds are flying upside down and the cats have to form a brigade against all the creatures coming in lots of hilarity ensues. I got to write the help scene from Beatles where one guy is running through a convention floor and everybody's going, he smells like cookies, and chasing after him. He's like, which was
Shenanigans.
Shenanigans ensued, and it was a lot of fun. And it climaxed, the climax of the series and of 2 of the love stories was on Halloween night. So it was so it was fun as a little, like I said, 4-volume series, and it really was spooky, and picking out the covers was spooky. I'm like, ooh, each one gets a little spookier. It's great.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
I'm with Amy. I like Halloween and Christmas. I don't know that I could choose between the two, in part because I feel like I kind of partially celebrate Halloween year round, because like
I do too. Yes.
Like if you're a paranormal romance author, like it is a year-round holiday.
That's right. That's
like,
right.
There are vampires everywhere.
I mean, maybe ill-advised at my son's school the other day, and I had like a skull on my t-shirt, and somebody commented on it being for like Halloween, and I was like, I wear this year-round. So maybe that's why it's hard to choose between Halloween and Christmas.
Right.
I have not written a Halloween story. I would really love to at some point. So it's like kind of on my to-do list of wish list future things, but I have written a Christmas paranormal romance, and that's Cowboy Wolf Christmas that is re-releasing in 2 weeks. It's a little novella, and that was a lot of fun to figure out like how wolf shifters celebrate Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My question is, do you know you want to write a holiday story, and so you figure out a way to put it into the series that you're writing? Or do you write the series and realize that something's going to be happening around the holiday and just kind of work it in? Like, do you intentionally write it as a holiday story, or does it just kind of end up that way?
Yes.
It could be either.
I have, well, okay, one of my first non-self-published stories was If I Must. Mm-hmm. And there was an all call for we want a Christmas story under 20,000 words. And I went, okay. And back in those days, I could pump out one of those, and it took me 3 days. I was super excited about it. I know, right?
That's good.
And I kind of, for various publishers have put out a holiday story, roughly, I think I skipped a year or two, but other than that, for about the last, do math, 13 years, about one a year.
Right.
I kind of average. So there's at least 13, if not
So you
more.
just know it's coming and make plans for it.
I know it's coming. I make plans for it. I think, what's my holiday story going to be this year? So by the time I have that deadline, and I usually have about 6 weeks, I have to have this due in 6 weeks. I know when I sit down what's going to happen. Sometimes I've got the Long Con series, which is like a series of heist books and like very Robin Hood con men, which I really adore. I mean, guys, I've written paranormal. It is almost like writing paranormal, because you are building a world where a bunch of con men will get together and go, we want to do good. We're going to rob the rich and give to the poor. And you're like, God, if only. I call it gay leverage, right? So anyway, because I had established kind of a timeline of about every 2 months we had a new couple, I'm like, these two guys are going to be in the middle of Christmas. And then it hit me that the two absolutely quiet, introverted, one is shy, one is neuroatypical, and they don't do crowds, either of them. And I have set them in the middle of this giant billionaire's mansion, where everybody else is super ADHD and super loud and super extroverted, in the middle of Christmas. And the first half of the book is that. And it is these two guys going, we're going to get close to each other because the rest of the world is chaos.
Right.
And that was by accident. That was just, I'm like, well, they're going to this is going to be bad for them. Well, that's good, because we like to torture them a little. So fun if there's not a little torture. So yeah.
That's funny.
It was an accidental Christmas story.
There you go.
I think for me, it really depends on how, like if I'm planning to like market something as like, this is a Christmas story, right? Like, or Christmas is going to be in the title, or Halloween's going to be in the title, or like something like very strongly holiday. Like I sit down with the intention, knowing that, okay, how is the holiday going to play a role in this? How is this going to be a part of the plot? But I think that I have plenty of stories where there's like, holiday things sort of happening in the background, but if they're not like a part of the main plot, like, they just sort of like happen and I don't plan them necessarily. It's like, oh, this just happens to be near Halloween. I do have a couple books like that, but like I don't market them as like Halloween stories because that the plot doesn't center around them. So I think for me it has to do with, is it a center part of the plot and like the events happening for the characters? And if it is, then I think of it as a holiday story. And if it's in the background, like I'm just like, oh, this is just every other day.
In my mind, it's basically like, if you could pick the story up and put it in, move it ahead in the calendar 2 months and drop it off, will it still work?
Yes, exactly.
If it will still work, it doesn't really, I don't think, classify as a holiday story, because you've taken the holiday out of it and it's still a good story.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And so that's why I think like the ones where the holiday happens in the background, I don't even think of them as holiday stories. And like, so the ones that I'm writing that I do say are holiday stories, it's very intentional that the holiday is a big part of the plot point.
Right. Yeah. And I do want to clarify, I enjoy those other stories.
Yes.
Those stories where the holidays are happening around the main story, still enjoy those 100%. But if you can move the story away from the holiday and it's still the same story, I think that makes it there's a little bit of a divide there.
Yeah. I agree.
Miss Lisa, do yours come on accident or do you plan them out as holiday stories?
Usually the holiday stories I've written were planned to be that way, because someone will ask me to, so then I'm like, okay. So like my werewolf novella that happens at the holidays, there was a paranormal holiday anthology that authors were doing, so they all had to happen at Christmas time. And it just happened to be that I was spinning off the Sedona pack in January of that year. So I was like, oh, so this could bridge the Moon series and the Sedona pack and pull it all together. And it was at Christmas in Sedona, Arizona, which was actually ended up being super fun to write because they do all sorts of cool deserty Christmas things that most people don't think about. So anyway, it ended up being really fun and lots of hot chocolate and things because it does get cold there and snow. So anyway, it ended up being really fun. But the other one I wrote, A Winter's Wish, was the most fun holiday story because it was a fae who was a warrior elf, and she was coming to find the blood of the wisher. So she thought she was coming to kill someone, and she hops out, and it's where her portal lets her out is at a Christmas parade, and they grab her and they put her on the float with Santa, and she's like, what is happening? And my Santa is actually a hot songwriter, but Santa had gotten sick. So his brother or his cousin who was in charge of the parade calls him up and says, put on a Santa suit. It'll help you pay your rent. And so he's like, fine. So he's this hot Santa under the Santa suit. And then he thinks his elf is pretty cute. No idea she's like a real elf. So anyway, it was really very, very fun, especially since the elf had no idea what Christmas was.
Right.
So that was extra fun.
That's cool. I'm going to go back to you, Lisa, because one of my other questions was, did you choose to do any kind of research and find out anything unusual about the holiday in your stories? Or did you kind of just go with the traditional, what everybody thinks of about Christmas or Halloween or whatever? And you talked about some fun deserty Halloween stuff. So what did you find out?
Oh, well, Sedona has these festivals of light, and when I went there for book research a few times, there are a lot of art centers there. And one of the big art centers that's outdoors does this big Christmas festival, and it's lights and it's very cold. And there were lots of pictures online because I never went to Sedona during Christmas time, so I couldn't be there for that. But the pictures online are gorgeous. I mean, Sedona is beautiful anyway, but it was really cool to work in actual festivals that happen, where that is, because I don't think people think about what happens in the high desert at Christmas time.
Right.
So, and then I had them meet. He finds his mate, and she is a veterinarian, and she was doing dog adoption at the holidays, and she was dressed up as an elf when they met. So I guess I have a thing about meeting the heroine in an elf costume. I do. So, there we go. I did it twice.
That's your new thing you learned today.
Apparently, that's what I like. Yes.
So, Kait or Amy, did you research any fun holiday traditions or anything unusual, or did you kind of go more traditional?
Oh gosh. I had to do a little bit of research for oh my God, the hedge witches. I had to do a lot of research for that because it was very involved in Wicca and that kind of thing. And there were the colors of candles and colors of string and color of spells and certain kinds of flowers
Gotcha.
and certain kinds of herbs and certain shapes. And the thing is, the really sad thing about my brain is when I'm in the world, I'm working oh yes, I know all these things. And I finish the book and I flush. And there goes all that cool shit I just learned.
Oh goodness. But it's in the book.
Yeah, kind of, because then I pull out I go to the next one and I'm like, wait, and then I have to open up all those same browsers and go, okay. And once I start sliding into the world again, I can usually remember, but I did a lot of research for hedge witches. I did a little bit of research for, and I know this is one of your later questions, Letha's Constant Whim, which is a short story I wrote about, about Letha, which is the longest day of summer, the first day of summer, the longest day of the year. Right. I had to do a lot of research for that and a lot of world building. Let's see, any other Christmas, and I'm trying to think. Oh, this is unusual. Sorry. 5 years ago, my husband went to Oktoberfest.
Mm-hmm.
And he and his friends, and they all know what I write, they sent back this picture of their waiter, and his name was Luca, and he was really cute, and he was very zen, and he liked to go traveling to India and study with swamis and gurus, and he looked really nice in a sari, because he would wrap it around his waist, and had a man bun. And all my husband's friends sent me pictures of this guy, along with, I want to be the guy he hooks up with, and I'm totally straight. And I had to look up all sorts of stuff about Bavaria and Oktoberfest to write that story. And it's called Homebird. And you can see, I sent the artist the picture of Luca, and she came up with a really good approximation of how cute he was. Man bun included, faint stubble. Okay. He's adorable. Nice. And I had to study the crap out of Bavaria. Made me want to go there.
Nice.
Beautiful country, lovely castles. There's a castle on every corner, and Oktoberfest looks like a lot of fun, but you do have to memorize the lyrics to Sweet Caroline.
I think we got that.
I got that down then.
I got it down. Yeah, a fun fact about that is my husband's and my birthdays are, mine is September 30th and his is October 1st. And there's the time difference. We turned 50 on the same day. We're usually 26 hours apart, but he called me on October 1st his time, and it was 8 o'clock.
I remember that. And I remember you posted about that. I remember that.
I was kind of cool. I'm like, wow, yeah. How'd that work?
Miss Kait, how about you? Did you have to do any research, or did you stick to the traditional?
I stuck to the traditional for Cowboy Wolf Christmas, just because I feel like when I think of a Christmas read, I have very specific, cozy sort of Christmas tree, warm fire, images in mind. And so I was like, okay, so I want to give all of the things you would want in a Hallmark type Christmas read, but make it sexy and put paranormal romance in it.
So, there you go.
So it was more a question for me of okay, we've got the traditional Christmassy stuff that so my series, for those who haven't read it, it's that I'm talking about is the Seven Range Shifters, and they're cowboys by day, wolf shifters by night. So I was like, okay, so we've got the traditional Christmas stuff kind of covers their cowboy side of things, right? So I just had to kind of brainstorm of well, how would wolves celebrate Christmas, right? So I had to incorporate both sides of their identity, and what would wolves do and think is fun at Christmas time out in Montana. So
here, yeah, bobbing for apples, maybe.
So they end up going on this big, not to give, this isn't a spoiler, I promise, but they end up going on this big romping hunt through the woods, right? All sorts of I think of it they're wolves, so they're not cute, but I think of it this pack of cute dogs running,
right. Yep. I have just been, my sister DeLorean is watching for comments and questions and sending them to me so that I don't miss anybody. So I'm going to run through quickly some of the things that she sent over. Crystal says, so happy you ladies are back for CMC because there are so many books of yours that I'm dying to read. Yay. Which, yes, I think that sentiment is shared by many people. Amber says Halloween is fun. Jody says I'm a Christmas person, but I don't do Halloween. And we have a question. How do you write? And this is one of the questions that I had. So I'm going to save that for just a second. Krista says, I like the idea of a holiday story set in your series, Kait and Lisa. I cannot wait until I get to some of yours.
Yay!
So that's cool. Love the extra sweet and happy that a Christmas story layers in. Do you have any favorite holiday traditions, and have you written them into the story? We talked about that a little bit at the beginning. So I'm going to go back here to, all right. So this question is one that I had on my list already. So we're going to go to this. How do you write a holiday story out of season? so that it's ready for release on the holiday. Like, what do you do to get yourself in the mood to write a holiday story when it is not that holiday?
For me, it's all about the playlist. So when both of my holiday novellas, I had to have them done, I think, by August 1st. So here it is, the heat of summer in San Diego back then. Now, well, it's super hot in summer in Florida too. But anyway, and I'm writing these holiday things about chili and wearing a coat and snow and let's have hot chocolate. And I'm like, but I had a holiday playlist with lots of Christmas carols on it and things that reminded me of Christmas, and lots of TSO, sounds like snow and stuff like that. And some Lorena McKenna has some really cool Celtic Christmas songs and stuff like that. So for me, it's all about the playlist, because I could put on the playlist and pretend it was Christmas. So that worked for me.
and thank goodness for air conditioning.
Right?
Yes. Amy or Kate, what do you do to get yourselves in the mood for your holiday?
So those who know me well know, okay, so background information is, so I was born in Michigan and grew up in Michigan, right, where there's very clear changes of seasons, right? You get the super snowy winter, right? Like the nice autumn leaves and all that. But now I live here in Central Florida, where it's just like green and hot all year round.
And bugs.
So, like,
oh my God,
you already, yeah, like there is not a true change of season here. Like as Floridians, we say there is, like, oh, it's our winter. It's not actually winter though, right? Like, so for me, I had to already get accustomed into like making myself feel like it's like Christmas or it's Halloween when there's no leaves changing on the trees and there's no snow falling, right? And so I kind of took that similar approach when I was writing Cowboy Wolf Christmas last November, which I know people are thinking November, that's near Christmas time, but like it's still hot in Florida in November. It's still green outside. So like it feels nothing like Christmas in November. So I had to like break out my Christmas decorations and like put them up early. And what Lisa said about like the playlist with them like putting out the Christmas music. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna make myself hot cocoa to drink and tea when I'm writing, and like,
while the air is pumping.
Yeah, little things that kind of get you in the like spirit of the holidays. But it would have been a heck of a lot easier if I wasn't in Florida when doing those things.
And see, as a native Floridian, I can feel the subtle difference. And
see,
I can tell.
I feel the difference. Like, I've been here long enough now, right? Like I've lived in Florida over 15 years at this point. So like I can feel the difference, but the Michigander in me is like, no, this is not winter. like
when it starts getting to be like 50 or 60 outside, that's the change of season.
Yeah, that's true. I do love that point, because to me that's like my favorite Florida weather. I'm like, when it's like in the 60s, I'm like, yes, this is perfect.
Yeah, for the 1 week that happens.
Yeah.
Winter, darn, it's over. Okay.
I gotta say, January, February in Florida is the only time I like Florida.
Yeah.
It's the only time. Sorry.
It's okay.
I agree.
I've been to Florida in August, and my one question is why?
Yeah, why?
But,
see, I'm a summer girl. I love summertime in Florida.
Oh no. Absolutely.
But that's
not.
the thing, is that I really like cold weather. I like rain, and I don't live in the part of California where it snows. It's usually snows in the mountains, but climate change. And we've had a drought for the last 10 years. So we have very, very little rain. And it's to the point where we're almost in a dystopian future where if it rains, there is celebration. Rain is, let's stay home and pretend that it's going to do this for a month.
Right.
And that's kind of my approach to Christmas stories, is that I love the cold weather. I love it when it's 40 degrees outside. I love it when it rains. I love the cold wind. And so that same degree of fantasy that you put into your stories, I love it when wacko plan comes together. I love it when two hot guys kiss in front of me. You know, that thing that I want to happen is Christmas weather, Christmas cold. So in July, I want it to be 40 degrees. I write it 40 degrees and go, oh, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. Okay, so are there any, and this is actually another question from the group, are there any holidays that you wish had more stories out there? Like, are there any holidays, A, that you want to write about, or B, that you wish you could find more of to read? So let's start with A. Are there any that you wish you could write about, a holiday that you could write about, and B, that you wish there were more of out there? I saw Kait nodded her head. So Kait, we'll start with you.
So this is not like an immediate goal or anything like this, but so don't go getting crazy excited, readers. But like, I hope that like one day I have written like either a novella or a story for like all the big holidays, like the major ones. I feel like that would just be so much fun, and like, you know, to be able to be like, oh, hey, and here's the story for Valentine's Day, and here's one for 4th of July, or like whatever, right? And so like in the back of my mind somewhere, and I don't know if this is something I'll ever actually do, I would like to write one for all the big holidays, because I just think that would be fun. And I think there's so much nostalgia around the way we celebrate different holidays and that sort of thing. It's so much like meaning for people that I'm like, I think that would be a really fun venture. Like, so someday maybe I would like to write all the other holidays, but right now I've only written one for Christmas. So
that works. Lisa or Amy, a holiday that you would like to write, or one that you think that there aren't quite enough out there to find?
Well, I've written like 15 Christmas stories and a number of Halloween ones. I think what I would like to do, and it's just because I enjoy the research, even though, like I said, I flushed all the fun shit away. I would like to do like a pagan calendar, because it's and when I was writing Little Goddess, brought up Inbal, brought up Letha, brought up, you know, you bring up Samhain all the time. And I have the worst memory. So my friends will be sending me Happy Mabon, and I'm like looking that up going, I've looked this up every year. Why can I not remember it's coming? Okay. And you know, and they know the pagan calendar in their bones. And I think it would be really fun to do a series of pagan calendar, you know, pagan holiday. That
would be cool.
I just started a spin-off of the Hedge Witches called
that would be perfect.
Yeah. And I'm thinking that I might want to center a couple, you know, do a couple of those, because Letha's Constant Whim, it's an old story, and it was kind of heartbreaking, but it was, I mean, it ends happily. It's promise. Scout's honor. Ends happily, but that idea of returning to the same ritual every year really gave it that, like you said, that nostalgia, that sense of bittersweetness, just in where we are in the past and where we're going in a relationship in the future. I'd love to do that.
Miss Lisa?
Well, I've written a million short stories, so I've written pretty much every holiday, but I wrote a certain short story that was about St. Patrick's Day. And I would like to write more about, because I write paranormal, I enjoy the monsters and things, and I like the history of where the things came from, and we usually like clean them down so that they can be in a Hallmark card. But I feel like there's so many monsters hidden in a lot of the holidays, and I like the idea that where did those snakes come from that St. Patrick was shooing away? And the whole catching of a leprechaun and demanding his gold, where did that gold come from? You know, and so I feel like there's a lot of missed opportunities there. So I would enjoy, you know, doing that more someday.
That's cool. That's cool. I have a comment. Lisa commented that Kate, when you were talking about doing a whole year of holidays, she says a Holiday Inn for novels. So like that movie Holiday Inn, where it's everybody comes for different holidays. Yeah. Only it would be for novels. And one thing I was going to actually mention it at the end, but since we've talked about it a couple times now, I know both Tawdra Candle and Tanya Kappas, who are also featured authors for Coastal Magic, have both done something very similar to what you mentioned, Kate. I know Tawdra has A Year of Love in a Small Town, and each of the 11 books in that series are a different holiday. Like and then Tanya Kappas has 87 different series of cozy mysteries. And amongst all of the different series, there are holidays smattered about all of them. And the most recent series that she's running, I'm pretty sure there is one series that just each book is a different holiday.
I like that. Yeah.
So yeah.
Like, I like the idea of like having, like for me having one, it's like, oh, okay, this series has a, Christmas one, and this series has a, Valentine's one, and like kind of pepper them throughout sort of thing. So then like I've got one for all of them.
That would be cool.
Did any of you see that? I was just checking on my phone to be sure I had the name of it right, but that movie Holiday on Netflix, it's where these two single people make a deal that every holiday, if they don't have a significant other, they will be the significant other. Ooh. So every holiday is in the movie, and they get together for those. And pretty soon their family's like, you guys, why won't you just be a couple? And they're like, no, that's my holiday. And so that you always have a +1. It's super cute, well worth seeing, but it's on Netflix. But it's kind of like a movie that squished all those holidays together.
Cute.
It was really cute. Yeah, it was very cute.
That would be a fun series of books to write exactly that way. Do one for each holiday through the year with these two meeting up every time, and then have them finally get together at the end of the year. That would be
yes, which is, I think, sort of what happens. I think, do they get together at New Year? I don't know. New Year's or Christmas is when they finally decide they're going to actually be a couple. But it's really cute. And as each holiday approaches, everybody's going, 4th of July picnic. Who are you bringing? And she's like, they're like, oh, her holiday. But that way you don't have to go single to all of the family holidays. It was really clever.
That's
definitely
fantastic.
Would like to read a book like that.
That is adorable. Or maybe that would be a really good one for like a group of authors to do, one of those multi-author collections, and have each author write the story from a different holiday. That would be cool.
That would be fun.
Yes, making plans and stuff.
I once wrote a short story called Going Up, and it was marketed for Christmas. It was one of those ones y'all hate. It was marketed for Christmas, and Christmas was a big deal because it was a Christmas wish that started it. But it was about a guy who ended up on the wrong elevator. He lived in the penthouse, and he ended up on the everyday elevator because the penthouse elevator broke, and he kept running into a guy on like the 9th floor. And the guy he had like multiple jobs. He was a substitute teacher. He did singing telegrams. And so for the singing telegrams, he was like dressed as Cupid. And then he was dressed as St. Patrick's. He was dressed as a leprechaun, and he was dressed as the Easter bunny.
Oh, that's great.
I love it.
That's
and
fantastic.
it was a lot of fun. And then he got to be a teacher, and he was dressed up for the Renaissance Fair, and the Cupid one was funny because he was like wearing like a giant diaper and the little wings, and they just stare at each other. And then the guy in the Cupid outfit starts smiling, and he goes, "I'm adorable."
Amy, we have a question for you. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to say that was the last right. It was called Going Up.
Yes. The question for you was, is there any chance for a holiday story in the fish universe? So you may answer that or not answer that. It's up to you.
It will probably be a fishlet, although the last one ended right before Halloween, which means that the next one could start around Christmas. I know I just put up a free short on my Patreon that happens right before Christmas, or I'm sorry, right before Thanksgiving. It's called Zoomies. And it's about all the work you have to do to get the house ready for 50 zillion relatives. And one of my characters is not very domesticated. And this is the thing he hates the most.
We have another question. Do you have any favorite holiday traditions, and have you written them into your holiday story? So like do you have like one single, like if you have one tradition that you can't possibly have your holiday without, do you have one of those? And did it make it into your story?
Somebody gets a homemade gift.
Oh, that's nice.
I don't just knit for myself, although it may appear so on Zoom. Okay. But yeah, somebody
nice.
gets a homemade gift, very often a sweater or a hat. I do lots of knitting, crocheting, not just in the knitting and crocheting series.
Right.
And it's because as you get older and you can afford your furniture, you can afford your television, you can afford all your electronics. But for me, it was my stepmom made me an apron. Okay, I'm a big girl. They don't have big girl aprons out there for when you're cooking, and I love it. I'm like, that's one of the best things ever. And she had to make by hand, sew it. I'm like,
and there's something so special about something that someone has made.
Yes, it really is.
Yeah. Kait or Lisa?
So for me, with my family growing up, I always did a ton of holiday baking. I mean, I feel like that's kind of the stereotypical answer, right? But like we'd always do all these different types of Christmas cookies. I can't say it occurred quite in the way like it would at my holiday in the books because I had to make it dirty. So the cookie making gets spicy in Cowboy Wolf Christmas.
For me, I was an only child growing up, and my mom was single momming, and she started this tradition I as far back as I can remember, and I did it for my kids without even really thinking about it. So I did put it in at the end of, I think, Ice Moon, but my mom would wrap every single tiny itty bitty little thing in your stocking, because she would tell me I can open my stocking but none of the other presents. And so it would give her 15, 20 more minutes to sleep on Christmas morning, because I'm in there opening, one battery, woo! And so my kids, so I always did it for them. My daughter's opening it, she goes, ooh, one nail polish. But it does like
that's fantastic.
Slow everything down. And I had a single mom of a werewolf kid in Ice Moon, and so she was trying to slow him down Christmas morning, so they were all individually wrapped. And I still do that. Poor Ken, every Christmas morning he's opening he's like, do we wrap yes, every single thing individually wrapped.
That's fantastic.
That's cute.
And there's nothing wrong with slowing things down a little bit. Things get a little bit kind of just 90 to nothing, so it's nice to have a reason to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, and they're not prettily wrapped at all. They just have wrapping paper and tape on them, but it definitely slows things down.
That's fantastic.
Let me see, I'm trying to choose because mother of four here, so many. One of the things that my husband and I always have a gift to open. And, as an adult, you're like, well, sometimes your Christmas gift is a computer that you bought yourself, but we always have to have a gift to open. And it started way back when my husband and I had no money, like nothing. And one of the things I got every year or not every month that was back when you got Harlequin books on subscription. Before I got a lot of smiles there, and you would get your 4 happy books, and that was it. That was your disposable income, but it came to your door and it made you happy. And I wrapped my silhouette desires for myself one year because the kids wanted to see me open something. They were really young at the time, and I put that in a book once, and people were like,
"Oh, that's sweet."
Yeah.
I like that.
Crystal is commenting in the chat that she remembers Jackson and Ellery having a Thanksgiving scene that she really loved and that she adores Jackson and Ellery. She wanted to make sure that that was stated and noted.
That is in my that I put that on my Patreon. So I think that is open for all comers. That one was heartbreaking. It was written after probably the hardest of the Jackson and Ellery books. The one where Jackson really did, he gets hurt a lot. He ends up in the hospital a lot. It's a standing joke. The last one, it was his nurse was really mad because there was a sign that said days since Rivers has spent a night in the hospital, and it had gotten up to 97 and they were really excited. But he really almost died. And then he was really broken at the end, and his boyfriend's mother's family, his mother was very very regulated. She liked her silverware like she likes it. She insists on the niceties being observed, and she moved her Thanksgiving a piece at a time into the TV room where Jackson was watching a football game, so he would maybe eat something and possibly sleep.
That's sweet.
Because he hadn't slept in 2 weeks. And so it touches a lot of people.
Yeah, very sweet.
Jackson never had a mom, and this is someone momming him as subtly as she possibly can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Everyone's like, yeah, it is on the Patreon, and it is free if anyone wants to look that one up.
Very sweet. Very sweet. I mentioned at the beginning of our chat that we were supposed to have Dahlia Rose with us tonight, but she is PhDing at the moment. So I just wanted to do a really quick run through. She's got quite a few Christmas stories. I'm just going to do a real quick run through of the stories that she's got that are holiday. She's got 12 Days of Christmas. She's got All I Want for Christmas Is You. Christmas Plum, Christmas with a Scoundrel. I'm actually not going to read them all because she's got a ton of them. Mistletoe and Juno is amazing. I loved that book. Say Yes, Seducing Santa, Sleigh Bells and Rings. Like, there's tons of Christmas stuff. Looks like there's a Valentine's story, which I was not aware of. So, like I said, I'm going to have to do a deep dive into everybody's back catalogs, because there's a lot of holiday stuff that as I was getting ready for this chat, I realized that I was not aware of everybody's holiday stories. So I need to go back through a lot of them. But this she's got a whole list. Oh, you can't see because it's my background. Anyway, she's got a whole list of holiday stories. So definitely make sure that if you are looking for holiday stories, you check out what Dahlia's got, because she's got quite a bit in there as well. So we are getting close to the end, but I do want to get some TBR and some recs from you guys. So what holiday stories have you read recently that you really loved, or ones that are coming out that you are looking forward to reading? What TBR books should our readers add to their piles as well, as far as holiday stories? And it can be for any holiday. It doesn't have to be Halloween or Christmas, but any holiday.
I've got a couple. So I was specifically looking for ones that are not Christmas stories, because I feel like Christmas is the common one. So I really enjoyed is a novella it's a paranormal romance from Abigail Owen, and it's called Hit by the Cupid Stick. I actually helped edit it. And so the hero is Cupid, and the heroine is a siren, like a monstrous type siren. Who like preys upon like monstrous, like evil men. So he fires an arrow in the start of the story, meaning to hit somebody who's one of her targets, right, that she thinks is a bad person who doesn't deserve love. But of course the arrow comes back around, hits him and her. They end up falling in love together in the course of the novella. It's lots of fun. So I like that one.
Super cute.
Yeah, and it's got this sweet part of Valentine's Day that you would expect, but since it's paranormal romance, there's also lots of badassery too. So I really enjoyed that story. And then another one that is like, I guess this is more of a holiday adjacent, it's like a cross between women's fiction and a little bit of romance, is by Tracy Goodwin. It's called With Neighbors Like This. It's a newer release. And at the start of that one, it's Easter, and the hero has to dress up in like a bunny costume for like the HOA like Easter get together. And
Oh my gosh.
So the heroine ends up meeting him when he's like in half bunny costume, which I thought was hilarious.
That's adorable. Okay, do me a favor. There's a comment that says, can Kait please repeat the author and title of that first book? So give me the author and title again.
Yeah, so the first one is Hit by the Cupid Stick by Abigail Owen. And then the Easter one is With Neighbors Like This by Tracy Goodwin. And then another holiday related one is that I really loved was The Matzo Ball by Jean Meltzer. And it's a Hanukkah romance, and it's super adorable, like Hanukkah rom-com, and it's super great.
Awesome. Fantastic. Okay, who else has suggestions?
Go ahead.
Amy?
I just finished Jana De Leon's Misfortune series. Has anyone here read those? I
have not.
They're hilarious. Oh my goodness, they're hilarious. And there is some romance, but there's also lots of action. And there are two old broads named Gertie and Idabel who used to be spies in Vietnam and work covert ops, and they are hysterical. Okay,
that's awesome.
And then there was a young CIA officer or CIA operative who comes to this little tiny town, and every time she hits a holiday, she just nails because it's in Louisiana, so there is no everybody huddling in the cold. It maybe gets to be 50 degrees in southern Louisiana. And I think the last one was Flame and Fortune, which was New Year's Eve. And
cool.
Every holiday one hits the perfect note. She does do around the clock. I don't think there's not a Valentine's one because her characters aren't that sentimental, but oh my goodness, from the very beginning to the very end, you are laughing outrageously, and I want to be Gertie personally. When I hit 85, Gertie, who will put on a red sequined swimming suit and be towed around on an inflatable alligator.
Well, there you go.
I mean,
I feel like I have a couple of those books, but I haven't read them yet.
They don't necessarily need to be read in order, but they should be read. You would love them, I think.
I feel like I would. I think I would. Okay, so just so that people can write it down at home, the name of the series and the name of the author one more time.
Jana De Leon, and it's the Miss Fortune series. Her name is Fortune, so she's Miss Fortune.
Fantastic. Miss Lisa?
Well, I have two. So this one, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it has an adorable cover, but it's called Being Mary by Mika James. And it is a sapphic novella holiday. No paranormal in this one, but it just, it melted my heart because she is so sunshiny. Her name is Mary, and it's Merry. And
I love it.
She loves Christmas. She's so Christmassy, and she's so she's one of those people who bad things happen, but she tries to, put a bow on it and make something good out of it. And so anyway, it's the holidays, and she gets kicked out of her apartment. And so she hears from a friend of a friend that there is this girl who might need a roommate who is very, very anti-Christmas. So Mary shows up on the doorstep wearing light up antlers. and the woman closes the door in her face. But they end up falling in love at Christmas time. Oh, it's very, very heart melty. And I think it just came out on audiobook. But anyway, Being Mary, super highly recommend, super cute.
And what was the name of the author again?
Mika James, Meka James.
Okay.
And it's really cute. And then Alyssa Day, if you want paranormal Christmas, her Christmas in Atlantis is fantastic, and it will make you smile and give you all the warm feelings. And it's an Atlantis warrior. So anyway, so if you want a more paranormal Christmas, that one's fun too.
Fantastic. Awesome. Okay, so we have 3 minutes. So let's wrap up by letting people know what you may have coming up at towards the end of this year, anything that you've got coming up or coming out before Coastal Magic, and where people can find you online to learn more about your stuff. Why don't we go reverse order? So Kait, then Lisa, we'll finish up with Amy.
So I've got Cowboy Wolf Christmas is a novella in my 7 Rain Shifter series, and that's coming out in 2 weeks. And I just got a proof of it today, so I can hold it up. It's got the little line across, but there's the sexy cowboy on the cover.
Nice.
So that one came out originally in an anthology called Shifters and Mistletoe last December, but it was only out for like a limited release. And so this is a re-release of that same story.
Did that get anything changed or added to it, or is it the exact same thing?
It is the exact same.
Okay.
So if you had read the previous one, then you're good to go. You've already read the story. This is the same story. And then after that, I will have, hopefully coming before Coastal Magic, is Cold Demon Hunter, which is book 2 in my Rogue Brotherhood series. And readers who have been with me for a long time will recognize those because they were previously published with Harlequin, called The Execution Underground. And it's those books, but updated significantly to bring them into current times.
I knew those had gotten some redoing, so I wasn't sure about the Christmas one.
Yeah, the Christmas one is the same. So if you haven't read it, grab it. If you have read it in the Shifters and Mistletoe anthology, maybe get it just for the hot, sexy guy on the cover to match the other 7 Rain Shifter books. But the Rogue Brotherhood, yes, has been updated a lot. Like, so for readers who are interested, the first one was called Twilight Hunter when it was originally published. It's now called Rogue Wolf Hunter, and at least 30K new words. So
nice. And where will people find you online?
Yes, and people can find me online at kateballenger.com, where you can sign up for my newsletter, and that's where you hear all of my announcements first and get a free short story.
Woo woo. All right, Miss Lisa.
All right. Well, I have a Kickstarter up right now for my first ever tarot deck, and I'm writing the practical tarot books too. So please come support the Kickstarter. We just broke 50%, so that's exciting.
Nice.
I've never done one before, but it's super stressful. So anyway, try super hard not to keep hitting refresh. Oh God.
Yeah.
Anyway, that thing they tell you that it's all or nothing. That's really stressful. But anyway, so that ends on Halloween night. So let's do this. But book-wise, I have Wolf's Woman comes out in January. It's going to come out early if I can swing it with my editor, but we'll see. I'm writing it now. And that is the second book in the Salem Wolf Pack that just started. So werewolves and witches and magic. So that's been super fun. But for holiday thing, I'm going to do my first ever holiday novella this year that I write on Patreon. I have friends who have done it, but I have not, and I think it will be super fun. So I will release it itself later, but probably not till January. But I'm going to do 2 chapters a week for my Patreon for 5 weeks leading up to Christmas, and they can read as I write. And I am playing with ideas of letting them, you know, like choose your own adventure. What do you guys want to have for next?
Fun.
I may do it, I may not, but you know, I just think it would be really fun if they have some collaboration there. So if you're on Patreon, look me up, because November and December will be fun. I've never done it before where they get the only content. I do give them a free short story every month that they get to pick. So there is that, but this will be the first time writing a whole novella on there. So I'm really excited about the challenge, and I think they're excited. So anyway, that'll be cool. my holiday book this year, and it will be in the Salem Pack. I don't have a title yet, but anyway, it will be a Salem Pack novella for Christmas.
Cool.
Christmas in Salem.
There you go. Besides Patreon, where else can people find you online?
At authorlisakessler.com. All my books are there. You can sign up for my newsletter. You can find a link to my Patreon is right there. And also a link for the Kickstarter is on there too. Just click on my blog.
Cool.
So that's it.
Excellent. Amy?
Let's see. Rising Tide just came out. It's got wizards, witches, and luck mechanics. And luck mechanics are people who have one small talent, like flipping a coin and it comes up yes or no, right? You know, that the coin is never wrong, or refillable fridges full of soda, or can always
magic
change
fridge.
the light. Like, you know, you can make it lighter or darker. So the luck mechanics is the name of the series. And the idea is that, you know, that one small talent can make a difference. And so that is semi-Halloween themed. It is not around Halloween, but wizards, witches, and luck mechanics. Oh my. My Christmas novella this year, it's called Christmas. And you all know the Harlequin story of the small town hero or heroine who goes away and then comes back, you know, goes away to the big city and comes back to the small town and falls in love with the small town. He goes away to the big city, falls in love, and his mother won't acknowledge his beloved because she wants him back in the small town. And so it's kind of setting that trope on its end, because he ends up dragging all his, you know, his father and his sisters and his old flame, who is now happily with somebody else. He ends up dragging them all back to Brooklyn with him to help his boyfriend in Brooklyn.
Well, there you go.
The opposite of your Hallmark, you know, your typical Hallmark trope. It's called Christmas. You know,
nice.
Myths of Christmas.
Very cool.
Thank you. And that's exciting.
Yes.
And my fifth mastermind book, or long con book, so like Gay Leverage,
right,
is coming out in January.
Yay!
So boom boom. Yeah.
Very cool.
And you can find me on Facebook at Amy Lane Anonymous. That's my Facebook group. Ask and you shall enter. You can find me online at Amy Lane Romance. That's got a link to my Patreon and a link to my newsletter. Newsletter comes out once a month. And the cool thing about the newsletter is I post all my free stuff I do on Patreon. Some stuff on Patreon is just for patrons. I put out whatever I link whatever I did for everybody. So I just put a story up on my Patreon called Zoomies that was for everybody.
Nice. Very cool. Okay, ladies, we are holiday booked out for the moment. I am going to just really quickly, I don't know if you probably can't see this because of my background, but this, and I can't undo the background because I don't want anybody to see what's behind me. Oh, here we go. See this? These are all of the Coastal Magic authors that have stories that have holidays.
Wow.
I know, right?
Perfect for the reading challenge group.
There's a lot. So I'm really quickly, I'm gonna say AC Arthur, Adriana Herrera, AJ Sherwood, Amy Lane, Caroline Lee, Catherine Keynes, Cecilia Dominic, Cynthia St. Aubin, Dahlia Rose, Deborah Blake, Eliza Gale, Hildy McQueen, Jayla West, Janine Frost, Jeannie Adams, Kait Ballenger, Carrie Lamore, Casey Byrne, Kim Law, Laverne Thompson, Max Walker, Maz Maddox, Melissa Bourbon, Melanie Johnson, Morgan Bryce, Nancy Northcott, Olivia Gaines, Peggy McKenzie, Renee George, Reland Richmond, Robin Peterman, Sam Burns, Sarah Nicholas, Sasha Summers, Essie Smith, Ceresia Glass, Sylvia McDaniel, Tamara Berry, Todrick Handel, Terry Michaels, Tiff Marcello, Tanya Kappas, Violet Howe, and Yara St. John. All of those authors have holiday stories. Go forth and find holiday stories.
We could have a whole con of just holiday stories.
Just the holidays.
I was amazed when I started looking them up. I was amazed at how many more had holiday stories than I even realized. And I didn't get through everybody's catalog. Like I said, Lorianne was helping me pick some out because I was like, I can't believe there's so many holiday stories. It makes me so happy. So those of you who are watching, if you are watching live or if you are watching later, absolutely put in the comments your recommendations. Put stories that you have loved that are great holiday stories, stories that are coming out that you're looking forward to. Everybody's going to be looking through all the comments to get all of these recommendations. That's what we're doing here. We are building up our holiday TBRs. So any holiday of the year that you would like to definitely share it. If you are looking for holiday stories for a particular holiday, put in there, does anybody know of a holiday story that is so-and-so holiday? Because you never know. All of our readers can help each other find the stories that they're looking for. So definitely do that. And that is going to be it for us, because we've been at it for over an hour now. So thank you, all three of you ladies, for sharing a little bit of your evening with us and talking about holidays with us. Thank you for coming back to Coastal Magic after 2 years in the virtual world. I'm excited to see all of your faces in person. We are sorry to have missed Dahlia Rose tonight. Again, she is doing the important work of her PhD, but we did miss her being here. When she emailed me to let me know that she wasn't going to be here after all, she did say that she wanted to give a $15 Amazon gift card as a stand-in for herself. So all of you who are commenting, all of you who are sending recommendations in the comments, we're going to leave the comments. I'm going to, in 24 hours, I will go through all of the comments, and somebody who has commented, I'm going to pick somebody to get that $15 gift certificate from her. So thank you, Dahlia, for offering that. We do appreciate it. And we hope you had a good class tonight. And that is going to do it for us. So thank you, ladies. Thank all of you for watching, and we will talk to you again soon.
Okay. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Night.
Bye, guys.